I think you have to choose between me and your dessert. So do I have your attention?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not the Kenyans. We can still take away the flag. Okay. My name is Idris Bello, the Afropreneur, Harambean class of 2011, Nigerian from the University of Oxford. So, how many folks here have previously witnessed my papal exhortations?
Yep.
So you already know the drill. Away with your high expectations. For no one sets expectations for this program. For the rest of you who are virgins, I may new to this alliance. You are honored to stand in the presence of His Eminence, Pope Bello the first of this alliance. A favor you dare not treat with contempt, else you risk excommunication. Finally, if you are allergic to insider jokes and laughter, here's your chance to get out before it's too late. A poem on a piece of paper. Aloha. Salaam alaikum. Ain't anybody. My people, how far? Haba yako. Bonsoir. Boa noite. And for the rest of you, Sawubona. I see you. Here we are gathered again for the 4th Harambeans Global Summit. The first and third were here in Frankfurt with some of you, my friends. The second was over dinner with Okendo and his friends I heard. Back when he was voluntarily taken captive in Cape Town. But again, here we are back in the Harambe Republic of Frankfurt. We are back again because just as we warned, once you let us in, you truly never leave.
Yeah.
Something our Kenyan host might be wise to take note of. Before we descend on Naivasha, Kenya next year, as witnessed in that symbolic flag's handover from the South Africans, as Mr. Mboweni said in his borrowed Swahili, I will leave it to Bats of E4E Africa to tell us which one is the genuine Swahili. In Ndoto yetu tumewacha, we are handing over our dreams to you for the great migration of the Harambeans, as we become one of the 7 wonders of the world. 348 Harambeans globally, the great migration has started. Just like the Indians brought to Kenya in the 19th century by the British, many of them to work on the Kenya-Uganda Railway to cries of Harambe, we cannot do this alone, and who have since refused to return. And no, it is not you, my friend Jessica Kolako, or your ancestors that I refer to. As I applaud your work as one of the original OGs, co-founder of the High Hub and many other things, existed even before there was a tech ecosystem in Africa. She teaches us about intentional serendipity. She asked 1,000,001 questions. And after releasing a music album on NFT, she might just be the first Harambean to win a Grammy.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Christophe de Montiel of Beyond Capital Ventures in Nairobi, who has now established in the Indian Eastern African trade route. But this time, not for indentured laborers, I hope, but to invest in startups like Mr. Ngodi's Zeno in East Africa. Anyways, Pope Bello the First was almost not going to be here for this summit. For today, the most populous democracy in Africa goes to the polls. And it seems Mr. Luis Gale deliberately fixed the summit timing to coincide with the elections, to reduce the usually large size of the Nigerian contingent. Not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you ask the Ghanaians and the Senegalese, who like to argue about whose jollof is best after the Nigerian jollof. But I chose to come here tonight to make up for when I missed the 2028 summit in a few years when I am running for president in my country. Talking about Nigeria and South Africa, the 2 underperforming giants, It was interesting watching Jonathan Rosenthal yesterday from The Economist at crossroads himself trying to predict the Nigerian elections. He said so much, but he said nothing. With power going on and off yesterday, you would have been forgiven if you thought for a minute of the day that we were back in Lagos or Accra. I guess you call it load shedding in South Africa. We call it up NEPA in Nigeria. And several of you have described it as load shedding instead of the outage it truly is. Believe this from Nigeria. Let my hindsight become your foresight. It only goes downhill from here. Give it a few years, and South Africans will almost be as loud as Nigerians as they get used to speaking over the sound of generators.
Oh boy.
At least, we know the Kenyans have promised us no outages next year, even as they bring more color to the alliance and take us closer to the meaning of Harambeans. And while they may not have as many mountains and vineyards, they will make up with passion and color in Naivasha. So if I got a Benjamin, each time someone has asked me the existential question of why we have a pope in the cast, my new $100 million fund would already be oversubscribed. And no, it is not a result of top founder negotiations, as some folks would have you believe. For as Lofty Inc. were quite founder friendly. Nor is it a sacrifice for Harambeans, as Saint Sneha would prefer to believe. Well, she's the saint who sacrifices for Harambeans. I am the pope for whom others sacrifice. Rather, some folks have conspired to prevent me from writing this annual poem on a piece of paper, and they have worked together to deny me the use of my dominant hand. But they forgot that this pope does not need a hand to write. For nowadays, we have Pope GPT. And here I am again, made a trip from Cairo to the Cape. And sadly, despite the dreams of the imperialist Cecil Rhodes, not only is there not yet road or rail from Cairo to the Cape, there are still no direct flights between the Cape and Cairo. And His Eminence had to make do with flying through Nairobi and enduring the long lines at the airport in Cape Town, reminiscent of Mandela's long walk to freedom. So on Thursday, we got this started in the shadows of Table Mountain with the Founders Club at the Alangwe Boardroom. Great insights from Rob Dowers, and of course Coleman Collin of the Goldman Sachs fame, who taught us the power of partnerships. Lots of new faces I see in the audience today, and I welcome you to this new-looking alliance of ours. Wait, I can hardly recognize this alliance of fine wine and vintage cars. We have come a long way from the days of cramped rooms and street food. Now we have lunch at Richard Branson's restaurant. And the chairman is drinking Harambean wine from the 10X collection, courtesy of Michael and Rose Jordan, fruits of our labor, having labored down the vineyard of Harambe for over a decade. And just like Charles Phillips, the ex-Oracle CEO, who knows a thing about wine and secret societies, he says, like our alliance, wine gets better with time.
Yeah.
And after all the wine this weekend, you can return to Miss Musaji's restaurant for a detox. And talking about Charles Phillips, who takes the inspirational and turns it into legendary. Someone asked me yesterday if Charles had taken a DNA test with Barack Obama. I answered it was above my PayPal pay grade. As Pope Bello I, that is me, I did proclaim just a few months ago that Lula will become the official transportation of this alliance. And now, even Mr. Mboweni, who we call a taxi driver, thinks he's here like the windows on his vans. Not to be mistaken for the beautiful Swiss guard, Ms. Kuma Alfani, who is in charge of our agenda. Though they may share tinted air, one is more beautiful than the other. The bell is dead. No, don't leave the chairman's bell. I'm talking about the chairman. He may have been raised by Italians. He may have studied in America. But 10 years plus unopposed as the chairman of the alliance is African after all. I am told that Ms. Sherman Ozoe is in her final stretch. Hopefully, the young lad is not in a hurry to join the alliance. For while all these entrepreneurs are great at many things, delivering babies is not one of them. Ms. Mosaji, I see you brought the youngest member of the alliance. For a 4-month-old Hardy is here to keep us straight. And Ms. Mosaji tears up when she introduces her partner, Himavala of 535 Ventures, who likes to use lots of technical terms and keep his eminence out of an all-female photo shoot. Price of admission with a large check to her fund. She sure cares about making a shitload of money. That was a technical term in case you noticed. Though Ms. Fowler advises us to eat elephants one bite at a time, we may have to ask Simon Azal of Inseco if that advice also applies to the insects that he desires us to eat. On Friday, only Ms. Ledger and Ms. Mel joined the chairman's run, but then today, I heard 20 other people were pressured to join the chairman's run. Many others chose to join the women's mentors' crisp, fresh work at dawn, and the rest of you, I guess, just followed my guidance and stuck with the papal meditation in your bed. And be careful of outrunning the chairman on his run. Anthony Fair of Alan Gray Foundation outran our chairman on the run last year. This year is here with crutches to aid his aging infrastructure. Hello to Mr. Adebe of Kweli. And no, I'm not about to lose my tongue trying to become pregnant. He went from accused of witchcraft for offering cash in wallets to now delivering live cows via mobile phones. Mr. Lubega of the Go One Unicorn fame, who is now building a fund. Sam Emmanuel from Nigeria, who knows a thing about punctuations. A startup building the future of work is semicolon. We don't have a resources problem in Africa. We have a resourcefulness problem. That is according to Peter Ngoyi of Arlebird. Kenya, but mistakenly ascribed to Nigeria. On election day by Ms. Musaji. Is South Africa trying to influence our election? To Matthew Enshall of Code for Kids, teaching teachers to teach robotics, and going to Little Rock, Arkansas, stressing over 2 million users on this platform, when that's everybody's dream to have that many users. Hello, Sheikh Ahmad of Recommend, who reminded us of his short career in piracy, the third kind, not the one on the IC6. Hello, Mr. Yasmin Kumi, who is 63% German and 37% Ghanaian. I wonder, how's Ghanaian side of you faring these days? We also have the athletes from Kiru Muhoya, who dresses like a Nigerian prince, but promises over email that they won't dip sticky fingers in a Sfingo Africa bank. Mina Shahid, the Egyptian Canadian working in Uganda, he plays no tennis, but he's spending Serenia's millions. I agree the Jasmine Fellows, Ms. Mwangi and Ms. Lebo. But now let's talk about Yakub, who Okendo took on to a crypto castle party in Tuscany and met his boss at WorldCoin there. Now on a mission to create identities for the stateless. Good foods can apparently come out of bad seeds. And from the stateless, we have the deskless, who Miss Caroline Merv of GEM wants to ensure don't go missing on the payroll. Chido Muyati, who is now head of Africa at WEF. In 2017, when we met, he was new at the World Economic Forum. Amanda Pulinga of 100 women in finance. How about we make that 1 million women in finance? Francisco Tronchi, who stuck with us, among those who had the misfortune of running into Okendo at Harvard. Alison of Endeavor, forever grateful to you for the idea of the Prosperity Fund. And welcome to our friends, Tito and Patricia, from the Segal Family Foundation, who like to walk where the angels fear to tread, who like to give grants where the VCs dread to invest. Thank you, Sefo, who enjoys being here so much that she puts in a nice amount for the 10x bottles. And Frederick, also of Entrepreneurs of Africa, we won't begrudge you for your low auction amount. For your Dutch after all. Okendo told us to expect the US ambassador of South Africa at lunch, but he instead brought us the senior preacher from MLK's church in South Alabama. Felt more like a black preacher in African church than an ambassador, but it was truly a breath of fresh air. He dropped his prepared speech to talk about ancestors. He reminded us that history is not inevitable, it is a result of our choices. And he asked us if we were willing to plant the trees that others will sit under their shade. He reminded us that courage is the most important trait because it is the one that enables all the others. He reminded us that we are the answers to our ancestors' wildest dreams. And we got a promise out of him that we will talk before there's any interaction between his government and Mr. Spencer Hunt's cloud9 balloons. So we can continue to get goods to places with no roads. Angry of Commerce Ventures, who got the chairman so intoxicated in Nairobi. And now, many months later, the chairman can't remember to introduce her. Karma is real after all. Hello to people from Liberia, who is leading HBS efforts to do research on African businesses, written over 40 case studies on Africa. So hang out with her if you want some snobbish HBS students to laugh in class in a few years over the business mistakes that you cried to sleep over today. We welcome Obia Julu, who is cordially Nigerian. At least that's where his parents are from, even though he has only been there once. And his professor still won't invest in anything from Africa. And from the same crappy school that Okendo likes to call home, comes Bulelani Chile, trained initially in Beijing, now doing research on China and Africa. A man who hails from isolated spaces between poles. Gilly, you are welcome to the African Illuminati. And once you come in, you never leave, even when you spill tomato juice on your mafia white dress. And for those who are unable to make it into Harvard, you can just follow the example of Mr. Eric Muli. The guy couldn't get into Harvard, so he applied to Harambeans. Which statistically is tougher to get into than Harvard. And I can attest to the fact that Mr. Muli used to have air when he joined the Alliance. Now he's founder of Lipa Later, which helps you to spend money now and pay later. One Eko Ogoda of Zeno from Uganda wants to help you save now and spend later. And now to our own Arabian cardinals, who deserve band 8 for the blood they have shed for the Alliance. It is a pleasure to see Mr. McPherson looking more robust. After signing that big contract in the ag sector, with one coffee company that we all frequent, named with help, and you don't get a buck or a star for the right guess. We welcome Aminata. Where's Aminata? Okay. Welcome Aminata from Senegal to the Alliance. And we thank her for recruiting Matthias to the WHO. Though I get confused about who recruited who. But just glad that Matthias' board is turning to a rose. Jonathan,
Oh, Jonathan.
it is always nice to see you.
Oh, boy.
Only that, I do not understand what you have done all this time. No Sam, no Isabella, and no Carrie.
Yes.
You are probably on a time out, in case no one told you. Write me a big enough check, and I might do something about it. So I have you doodle on your notepad, and I walked away with two amazing theories. The top and bottom shelf approach to seeing the forest for the trees, and the Montessori concept of control for error. Jonathan the disruptor, who refuses to be bound by Okendo, Mr. Louis Gale's rules. And to Lionel Kenneth, where's Lionel? Singing with such crisp and mesmerizing clarity, the Pied Piper of the Harambean Republic lured us out of the hall to lunch like Harambean rats. With our sonora singing, I could probably pay for her to sing me to sleep every day. Once I get all the Harambeans to give me 10x returns, or I convince the Ruperts to give me a few vintage cars that they're not in need of. The voice of our alliance we truly are. And it took only 13 years and the promise of a boat ride in Cape Town to get my partner, Marsha, to attend our first Arabian event together. Marsha. For many who don't know, Marsha is one of the greatest supporters of our cause. My advisor and mentor since we crossed paths in Texas in 2010. They converted her to Anchor LP and co-GP in 2016 against the better wishes of our children who were very worried about this black Nigerian guy. Wondering if I had conned their mom to sell our wealth in Texas and pour our life savings into backing African founders. She put our money where our mouth was, and thanks to God, a few exits later, I'm no longer persona non grata in a Camel neighborhood. And even our sons and LP in our fund without seeing a debt. Where's Aaron?
I'm talking about here. So
Aaron told me today I have the most beautiful smile. And I believed him. Until I caught him saying that to get other Harambeans. All to get amazing shots. I guess all is clear in war and photography. Where's Denver? Okay. Whenever Isaac tells you to move to the next event, you look at his stature and you almost want to ignore him. Until you remember that he's a boxer and a bantamweight boxing champion who's representing South Africa at the Continental Boxing Championships in July. Go Denver.
Go Denver. Here.
And where's Brian Simiyu?
Simiyu.
Who gave Tagisho of Invested a separate agenda. So he joined us at 4 p.m. on Friday, even though he arrived in Cape Town at 6 a.m. By the way, can the Dream Team please stand up?
Can the Dream Team please stand up? Yeah. I asked you to stand up. Not to be praised, but to seek penance. For daring to wake up the Pope at 7 a.m. and disturbing papal meditation. Anyways, for all the work you have put in, and because we're in the season of Lent, I said go, and from now on, sin no more. So many battle times this year. For Mr. Ngui, who says we need to weaponize young people. Not with guns, but with software. To Ms. Shah, who says we need to check the nature of our battles. And then Jonathan says, if we do not do the right things and consider the law and us, technically we are effed up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a revolution. And slowly but surely, the Harambean Republic of Franchot is no longer a state of mind as we build ourselves the hyper-local Harambean Republic, with its own North Star, where we all serve each other, or at least we serve ourselves some food. For in the eternal words of that African philosopher, Mr. Bonaboy, last,
everybody go chop breakfast. Young ones, remember there's an after party tonight, and you get to learn the Harambean dance from Okendo.
Oh boy.
Important to note, however, that a party without enough Nigerians is just a meeting. Even the NBA halftime show had 3 Nigerian artists. So as we part this year to meet again very soon, let us remember the words of Mahendra Ramesh Ghani, author of The Business of Venture Capital, when he said, knowledge above wealth, people above profits, truth above power, and service above self. And as St. Shah reminds us, these are indeed difficult times. And as much as we like to celebrate the wins, we need to be here for our people. So I ask you, how are you? How are you? For together, we will check our road and nature of our battle. Yet, in the end, the Africa our generation desires can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is ours. Thank you.